Welcome to Leck Retro Game Reviews. I'm your host, Leck. This is the first episode in this series. In this series, I'm reviewing and showing walkthroughs of the most famous and popular retro games. This game in the background is Super Mario Bros. 1. It deserves to be the first game in the series because it shipped with all the Nintendos initially. I pre-recorded myself playing Super Mario Bros. And edited out the parts I died, so I'm not actually playing it as I'm speaking. This series this video game series is more informal than my Leck Tech series. So there's no introduction, no theme song. It's just me playing the game and talking about it. If you want to see my web series, you'll see it from my website. I put my website in the comments, and then at the top of my website is a link to Leck Tech, the other one. And there should be a link to the right of the YouTube for that too. Anyway, so it's LECKTECH. So the term retro, because it's called Leck Retro Game Reviews, means old, generally more than 10 years old. A game review is how good or bad a game is. As for how the narrator says how good or bad a game is. And a walkthrough of a game shows how to get from the beginning to the end of the game, which is what I'm showing. In most games, you have to figure out things to get to the end of the game. That's the point of the game. Some games are very difficult. Some games are so poorly made you would have no idea how to finish the game without a walkthrough, or countless hours playing the game trial and error. Some games are broken, meaning it's impossible to finish the game without cheating. Some games don't have an end. If I review a game without an end, there is usually some place in the game I consider the ending, and that's the place you've exhausted all the content in the game. Like, I'll explain it on a per game basis. So, like Pac-Man, if you do, which they didn't. I don't know if they had on Nintendo. You get to the end of the game, and you get through all the levels, and then it just keeps doing the same level over and over. Once you get to that level, which keeps doing over and over, you've beat the game. But I think Pac-Man does have an ending. Super Mario Bros. Has a clear ending, which you will see. I'm going to show that, and there are no major problems with this game. That's why I chose this game as my first episode. You play games to have fun or to relax. If you sit down and play a game, and then you stand up and you're tired or shaking from the stress of the game, you should not be playing video games unless you enjoy that type of thing. You should not be playing a game if you would rather be doing something else. Video games don't usually help you earn money, fall in love, or procreate more efficiently, so it's always a good idea to do what you want in your leisure time. This is a good time to say, see, I'm talking as the game's playing in the background, so I'm actually watching what you're watching. Here I'm going to take my first shortcut, and I'm getting to the end of the game. I'm not going to go through all the levels. I'm taking actually the shortest route to the end of the game. So here's the first shortcut. Super Mario Bros. Was not the first Mario Bros. In the series, but I believe it was the first Mario Bros. On Nintendo. Actually, I'm positive. At least from what I knew when I was a child, because that's when it came out. This was literally the first game available on Nintendo. I remember for a couple months, there were only 2 or 3 games total for Nintendo, which was weird. It was like a fad, but it was so popular, there was like an explosion of games. Because there were other consoles before that didn't really work, this was one of the first ones that really worked well. There was a prequel to this game named Mario Brothers, released later, which you can also... It's a mini game in Super Mario 3. There were obviously sequels to Super Mario Bros. Also 1, 2, and 3 on Nintendo, and then many more in other consoles. As I understand, they're still making games about the Mario Brothers today. This is 2018. You wonder if Super Mario would have done so well if every Nintendo console didn't come with a Mario game included. Like every Nintendo console I know came with a Mario game. I think there are better games than the Mario Brothers games, Super Mario games, with the exception of Mario Kart. That was actually a good game, in my opinion. I'm taking the shortest route to the end of the game here, and it's not a speed run. It's not a speed run. It's just I'm taking the shortest route to the end. When you see the game like hiccup back, when you see the screen warp back, it's like when that time it actually showed me dying because I went to a checkpoint. I didn't want to, like, in the mid of me running, warp to the checkpoint. So you'll see me, you'll see the screen I cut and spliced pretty much every time I died. And that's when you see, like, it doesn't look like it's fluid. When it goes black is when I'm using an emulator. And I own every game I'm reviewing. So these games, so please don't, like, I hope YouTube doesn't discontinue my series just because I don't own the game. I mean, because I do own the game, but I'm not, like, showing the cartridge, which doesn't really prove anything anyway. But, so, yeah, I don't know their policy on reviews. I know there's, anyway, so without getting into that, so here we're on 4-2. I'm going to take another warp. Let me talk more about the game now. I wanted to give a long introduction because it's the first episode, but, so you'll see fireworks sometimes, and that is how many points you have, or time, or coins. Like, depending on how many you have when you finish the stage, is how many fireworks you get. So there's stuff like that, and then in Super Mario Super Mario Brothers 1, the coins, you get enough. I think you get an extra life. See, I beat this game over 20 times. I've probably played it over 1,000 times because I was practicing for the Nintendo World Championships, and this was the first game. So I don't play this game that often. I'm not one of those people who goes back and plays old games over and over to death. But I did play this game quite a bit, and you know, everyone kind of remembers this game because everyone at least saw it or played it. So I wanted to do this. Now, I forgot when I was playing this that you don't get up here, you get up like right after there where the question marks are. You can actually get up there, but it doesn't really matter because you're warping. You go 1-1 to 4-2, and you warp here to get to the end of the fastest. There's another warp, like you can play through the game every 1 to 4, 1 to 4, 1 to 4, all the way to 8 to 4. But there's two different like main ways to warp. There's actually like there's the real fast way, which is what I'm showing here. You basically go 1-1-1-2, 4-1-4-2, and then 8-1 to 8-4. That's the fastest way through this game. There's also another method. There's two other warps. This stage, 4-2, you can actually go to the end like I did in the first one, and it'll get to 5-1. It'll just warp 3 stages. But then you got to play through all the way up till like, and then there's another warp like that, like 6-2 will warp to 7-1, something like that. I forget exactly. But this is much faster because you skip so many stages. There's not that many ways through this game. So, and I have played through the game all the way through. It takes forever, and it's near impossible without like some kind of cheat. But I think I did it without the cheat. I played a lot of games when I was young, so that's why I decided to do this series. So here you'll see we're warping to 8 now. There will be. I actually died quite a bit getting through 8 because the game does get harder as it gets further in the game. So I have 1 life, and I don't think I get any more. But no, I get anyway. So here's 8-1. You got to do 8-1, 8-2, 8-3, 8-4, and even these 4 stages keep getting harder. So and apparently I heard, I can't take credit for this, but I heard I heard somewhere else that in the Japanese version of this game was less forgiving. Basically, if you had flower power, whatever it was, and you get hit, you die. But in this game, if you're big, you go small. And I think, yeah, so, but then you'll see things like you stand close enough to those pipes, and the Venus flytraps will not come out. I mean, you see Venus flytraps in real life. You put something in the middle of them, they close. That's kind of cool. That's about all they do, though. They open and close. They don't really attack you like they're doing here. But anyway, but yeah, flying turtles anyway. So I mean, all right, so here's the star. It's invincibility. 10, 15, 20 seconds, whatever it is. Basically, the only way you can die with invincibility is if you get, I don't even know if I think you get smushed, which there aren't any things that can crush you in this stage. But you can fall off this pipe here. But the invincibility is pretty much invincibility. It's invulnerability, whatever. I don't know exactly what the term is. And here's the, right. Yeah, that shell thing just fell off. Now the black-shelled creatures are different from those because of some reason. I can't remember what. I think there's a difference. Anyway. Right. So as you'll notice in most of these screens, the screen goes to the right but not goes back. It's called a side scroller, or a platformer, and this is common for these games. Now remember, this was revolutionary for its time. No games were anywhere near this cool, and this set a standard for many of the games in the future. So, I mean, this seems old hat now, but this was I think that's why it was so popular, because it was done so well. And depending on where you land on that flagpole, that's how many points you get. And you get enough points, I believe you get another life. You get enough coins, I believe you get another life. So now we are on 8-2. So these cloud things, they shoot these spinies. I think they're actually called spiny. I forget the names of all of them. But yeah, obviously you can't. One of your few attacks is jumping on them, and you can't jump on them. So you can hit them with you can kick a shell into them, or you can use your flower. I think it is called flower power. I just call it fireball because that's what it looks like. All right. So, or you could just wait until them die. Now, if you kill the cloud, which I did, you get like a minute of no cloud, which is very helpful. Yep. And this is a 1-up. It's the same graphic as the mushroom which makes you grow twice your height, but it's different colors. So you know the difference. And I got this mushroom, and I actually ended up using the 1-up. Later, and there are tricks, like if you get steps, you can there's a way to jump on some shells. Oh, the black ones, you jump. Oh, I think I know what it is. It's the black ones you jump on more than once, they don't die. But if you jump on the green ones, they die the second time you jump on them, or something like that. Maybe you can't jump on them. Anyway, the point is, there's like tricks where on the steps. You'll probably see steps here somewhere, and you take one of those shells and somehow you jump on it, where you end up automatically jumping without actually jumping. It's hard to explain without showing. Like here's the steps, but you somehow kick a shell into one of them, and then you just keep jumping on it, and you keep hitting it back. It could be anywhere. Yeah, here's actually a good place. But anyway, so I'm not really showing all the cheats. I'm just showing a walkthrough. All right, 8-3 now. I thought the last two rounds of this game were pretty cool because they were vastly different than anything else in this game. Well, the last stage is similar, but it was different. This stage, I don't know. The background is different. It plays differently. So, honestly, it looks a lot like the Zelda 2. It looks like most of Zelda 2 in the towns. But anyway, which came after. So if you stand next to these, I guess they're called big bullet, whatever they're called, the black things that shoot big cannon bullets. If you stand next to them, they stop shooting. So there's like a 3-block range where they don't shoot. And these Hammer Brothers are some of the hardest things in this game. So it really helps to have the fire, be able to shoot fire at them, because that makes it so much easier. You can jump on their heads, but it's much easier to try to get by them. And there's another version of this, the Nintendo World Championships version, which only goes like to 50 coins, and then it does 2 other games, Rad Racer, Tetris. So, and then there are things called hacks of the game. It's not like hacking like you know it nowadays. Basically, it would be called a mod back then, but they were called hacks back then. They're called mods today. People modded the games, and then there's like homebrews and the hacks. But anyway, people modded the games, and instead of like Super Mario, you could put some other character. That's a real basic one. Instead of you're watching Mario, you could watch Luigi, but actually Luigi's in the game, so you could watch Yoshi. So you could watch Yoshi playing the game instead of Mario. That's an example of a very simple hack, which would be called mod today. So just ignore this first part. I spliced the video wrong. This is like halfway through. It'll warp back to the beginning. Just ignore this, because I die, and then I must have missed 20 seconds. I messed up. So I'm about to die by time, I believe. If you look at the time at the top right, there. So I'm out of time. So you actually die when it runs out of time. See, I take my time going through this walkthrough. It's not a speed run, but you can't take too much time. You got to keep moving. So I'm back at 400 time, and this time it will finish. So that fire is just like a pit. There's really no fire. It's just a pit. This game isn't the easiest game, but it's more forgiving than some other games. All right. So anyway. So I believe if you get 100 coins up at 97, you get an extra life, but I don't think I die. I just used the emulator all the rest of this level. I didn't really take the death. So I'm not sure if I'm going the exact fastest way, the most direct route to the end of this level, but it's definitely this is a maze. If you keep going straight and you don't go to any pipes, it will literally go on forever. It's one of those maze things. It was so revolutionary. People don't remember the mazes in Super Mario Brothers. There's one that's really you got to go like up, down, middle. But this one's a little easier. You just have to remember, you go in the first pipes pretty much that you can, and that's how you get to the end. The one everyone remembers because it was so annoying. I mean, it's like everyone. There was no internet. And most people didn't have Nintendo Power. Most people didn't know how to get to the end of these games. So when you play a game that's very difficult, like the first Zelda game, there's the notorious maze where you have to go. It's like up, down, left, right, left, whatever it is. It was a lot more difficult because you'll be walking around the maze and it would be literally like you see in a movie, and that was so unusual to most people in games. But this was before that. It had one of these. I don't know if Zelda got the name. They got the idea from that. A lot of these games were made concurrently. And unlike other water levels where you swim, these were a lot easier. There are other games where the water levels are not as easy, but these were. And honestly, this game really isn't that hard compared to a lot of other games. So I'll probably be reviewing some of the hard games that most people don't review because honestly, that guy looks black. I'm not racist or anything, but that Hammer Brother looked more black than the others. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I'm not racist at all. I'm just noticing. So that was the Gannon. Apparently, he looked like he always had his mouth open. So that's the end of the game, actually. And that's all for this review. Thank you for watching Leck Video Game Reviews, and please tune in next time. Oh well, you'll see that you can start at any level. But yeah, thank you for watching.